Hey, welcome to the show. Sorry about that little skip. Trigger finger was a little bit happy. Hey, we got a great one lined up for you today. If you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. I'd like to introduce you to the new MC of BALLBUSTERS just for today, Chocolate saying,
um, Hi. How we doing, man? What are you doing, man? What's up, everybody?
What's up, Chocolate man? Nothing. We
Hope
only got a
everybody's
handful.
good out there.
Go ahead.
I say I hope everybody's good out there. Enjoying the Saturday. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, they're enjoying it. They're enjoying it even more now that you're the MC.
That would be a negative.
You running things, homie. Start peeping.
Listen, when people start asking you why you're speaking that way, do not say it's because of me. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's all for his peeping. Yeah. We got Chocolate. We got Nathan. Yeah. Nathan, sir, how are you today?
I'm very well indeed.
All right.
Go
ahead.
It's good to be here. Coincidentally, although it's straight on topic of the show that we're going to be doing, Flat Earth 24/7 put out a video where they had a whole bunch of pseudoscientists, which was Neil deGrasse Tyson and a load of cohorts. They were all talking about, let's not say the word that they used, but they were talking about pseudoscience and passing it off with all the buzzwords you could possibly imagine from scientific vernacular. And at one point, one of the dudes was explaining that if something isn't physical, it doesn't exist. I'm in the chat furiously going, information, thinking, yeah, we're going to be covering this tonight, aren't we? Wonderful.
Yeah. What? And where'd you say you watched this?
Like I say, it's just a panel on a stage, so it was presumably, I have no idea when it was from, but it was just being rebroadcast for people to have a look at on 24/7. So yeah, it was just them rebroadcasting it. I've no idea when it was from. Like I say, it's just like a whole bunch of pseudoscientists talking about there was one particular thing that they said about phenomena probability or something like that, mixing up the vernacular of maths and science and saying we can figure out everything. But the point when he was talking, when I was furiously typing about information, when they were basically poo-pooing God. Well, there is no God. If it's not physical, we can't measure it. Therefore, God doesn't exist. That was kind of the general gist of what they were saying. Sure. I say I'm in there going, what about information? Give me the weight of that.
Yeah. That the place was 24/7.
24/7, where you go and battle people. Earth Discord.
Oh, and Flat Earth Discord, they ran that. I didn't see that.
Huh. This morning you were probably in bed. It was this morning for me, so you would probably be in bed.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. Probably on the live stream. Chocolate, you familiar with that?
Yeah, sometimes when it's quiet in the live stream, sometimes Helio or somebody will play a video. It's usually Helio. He'll play like a Flat Earth video in the live stream to kill the dead time. Because sometimes it's quiet, people aren't speaking too much. So
sure. Yeah.
That happens.
Yep. Oh, I got it. Yeah. Too funny. I ought to check on it sometimes. I was unaware that they even did that. But cool. Yeah. What they'll do is they'll say those things about only physical, and we're going to talk about that exactly. Nathan, you're right on point. Because to be a philosophical naturalist or an atheist, that's the only thing you can believe in is matter or energy. Well, you kind of got a big problem because almost the entire foundation of our reality is based on information, and information is neither matter nor energy. There's a rooster in the hen house, folks. So I don't know what all these atheists have been, for the past 100 years, for the past 20 on TV and on the internet and having all these shows, and they're laughing at everyone that's not an evolutionist, whatever that is, or an atheist and they're saying they're science deniers, that these people are dead in their tracks with one statement. Information. It's over for them. It's all. That's why I laugh at these shows. You know, the Four Horsemen. The Four Horses. They ain't even on donkeys. They're like the Four Horses' asses, maybe. These people are idiots. Point blank. It's over. It's laughingly over. Quick. And we're going to show that today. I think.
Hello, world.
Say again?
Hello, world.
Hello, wand. The heck does that mean?
Hello, world.
Oh, hello, world. What's up, Rebel? Just chill out, man. Just chill out for a few minutes. We're going to get into the presentation here.
Okay.
Hey.
Glad to be here.
So, any other news from the BALLBUSTERS? Anything new on the front other than I'll tell you what's been news on the front, man. The other side of this equation is getting stupider by the day. The philosophical naturalists, most of them are anyway, but the two presentations about, you know, whether something's supernatural, natural, or synthetic, and time as an independent variable, send these people off the reservation, man. The flat earthers out there, take this information and whip these guys around by their short hairs. It's really easy and everyone can understand it. You know, you got the ammunition, so just take them for a ride in front of God and everyone.
I'll do a small plug.
Yeah.
It's one of your shows. So on Tuesday, you did a live show, and obviously I was there. And it was about the trichotomy, which is pretty much what you've just spoken about. And I thought it was a really good, concise little show. So much so I mirrored it myself. I put it on my channel as well. But check it out. I can't remember the title though. So if you can plug your own show for me, that'd be wonderful.
But I think the title of the show was Supernatural versus Natural versus Synthetic. I think that's what the title was.
Cracking little show. Went through all the details of the basics of what you'd need in debate to understand and argue scientific method. It was really concise. I think it was purely because it was covering the trichotomy that obviously you've got to get that information in there, but you've done it in such a way that it was so concise. It was about an hour and a half show. It wasn't very long by our standards.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I didn't see the mirror. Did you already run it?
Yeah, I ran it about a couple of days after it came out. I think I ran it on, I can't remember when.
I must not have got the notification, but everyone knows the deal with the notification system, right? It's jacked up. It's hit or miss.
Saying several people from my channel have been commenting saying I've been unsubscribed. Some of them are members. They've been unsubscribed. So yeah, it's worth spreading the word. If you aren't subscribed, share the show. Make sure you share this BALLBUSTERS. Tell people to subscribe today to Quantum Eraser.
Thank you, sir. Yes, that's what I've been plugging people. Yeah, and there's some playing with the numbers that I personally watched this week. Not a big deal, but there was, say, some anomalies all week. And the only way that I can explain it is there's some manipulation going on. But I don't want to get into that. I don't really care. It's just something I noticed, right? I've never been into the numbers or the likes or dislikes or any of that. I don't really care about that. But it's just something that I've noticed. Back to the supernatural. Go ahead.
Either I don't care about the likes or dislikes, and I know you're not as much into the whole YouTube thing, whereas it's basically my life. But by the same token, I've got to plug this because it's important. Is to say that we don't get any promotion within YouTube. We're not being recommended to people. Therefore, the only way anybody within this community grows is by people sharing the show. I.e., if you're not smashing that Facebook smash share button right now, it's not reaching new people. So whereas the typical YouTuber's got a different kind of curve in terms of their growth, as is far, far, far more limited. And the only growth that we will see, the channel will only grow if you share the show. I'm talking directly to the audience now. So please share the show.
Yeah, it's only going to grow organically from this point. Well, not from this point. That point happened a long time ago, correct?
Oh yeah, a couple of years ago. But I've been saying it since it happened. Like at the start, it was great. You got promotion. People saw you. People came to your channel. Now it's only if people share. If I get a video put out about me, which I did recently, Synthetic Flat Earth put a video out about me with similar number of subscribers. I saw growth. Other than that, I won't see growth. That's it. If someone shares a video or promotes me within the community, that's where I grow. And the same will apply to you and everyone else. That's why I spend so much time plugging the channels that we talk about, making sure I go and get a link for them, putting it in the chat, all that sort of stuff. Because that's how those channels will grow also. It's sort of goes around, comes around.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Too bad, but that's the way it is. That's the way it's got to be. Back to the supernatural, natural, and synthetic. I thought that these were sort of well-duh type of subjects, but apparently they're not, because that once sent ripples, right, through the community. I heard people talking about it, and hey, Alexander, thanks for the super chat, man. Appreciate it. I heard people, mainly the ballers, talking about it. They still don't get it. I still have people, and some flat earthers, are concentrating on, if I don't know where they got this from, that they think that we're saying that if an experiment has any man-made objects in it, then it can't be an experiment. Where'd they get that from? They just make that up? We never said that. Go ahead, Nathan.
They just made it up.
Yeah, to somehow it's a silly straw man. That has never, those words have never come out of our mouths. In fact, I went out of my way in the beginning a few years ago to explain this. Let me do it one more time. The observed natural phenomena, natural, has to be natural. That is, the dependent variable must be natural to be natural science. The effect has to be natural because you're looking for the cause of that effect. Not the things that you're measuring, the change of the dependent variable. Of course, they're man-made, for goodness sakes. Right? So, if you have something that's natural, that's a dependent variable, and you're looking for the cause has to be natural. Right? If it's synthetic, if you put something synthetic as your dependent variable, as the effect, synthetic is man-made, then everything that you put in there that's synthetic is going to be caused by what? Man. So you don't need an experiment. You already know who caused it. That's why this is so non sequitur, but you guys still don't get it. Why is that? Somebody tell me. This is basic. This is below fundamental. This is less than the milk. We're not even into the meat. If you don't get this, my word, why are you even out here? I don't get it.
It's so that they can pick and choose what they can call science or not. The same way they tell you, oh, we can look at stuff in the sky and we can science that, right?
Yep.
Well, how the hell are you doing that when you're just looking at stuff? You're not manipulating anything.
They're
And
using.
they want to say just being able to write stuff down. Oh yeah, you're actually following scientific method.
They're using science.
That's why we've been hearing.
Sorry about that. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish up.
No, that's why they've been using this observational science. Okay. Yeah, that's the first step. Thanks. What are you doing after that?
Yeah, that's what I say.
More observation? Like what? And that's science? I mean, come on, man. There's got to be a point when people start just being honest with themselves. And it's like, it's gotten to a point of ridiculousness where, you know, they want to say time is independent variable. And, I mean, come on. You know? So.
Yeah, that's another one. Time is an independent variable. But back to the supernatural, natural, and synthetic. People have been going around saying, well, you only got two choices, right? That's how they do it. They say, okay, look at this pendulum. Well, there's only two choices, natural and supernatural. And then they ask, you know, whoever their guest is the pendulum supernatural? The answer is obviously no. So, but according to them, since they only got two choices, well, your only other choice is it's natural. And therefore, you're able to do science like a verb. We talked about this yesterday. Somebody brought it up. They use science as a verb. It's not. It's a noun, right? But then the person that's on the other end of this is saying, what the heck? What did I get myself into? This pendulum is the effect. Okay, what's the cause of the pendulum? Man, yeah, because it was a false dichotomy begin with. Because there are three choices: supernatural, natural, and the antonym of natural is synthetic. The antonym of natural is not supernatural, people. The antonym of natural is synthetic, period. And synthetic equals man-made. So this is really easy to reconcile. I'm searching for how this has become so difficult, unless it's purposely difficult. I don't know. I don't judge intents, but there's some numpties out there. You should have heard the conversation I was listening to this morning. It was absolutely unbelievable. It's scary stupid.
Good question.
Go ahead.
If you say that you've only got a false dichotomy of supernatural / natural, how does time fit into that exactly?
Supernatural, if you only have two choices, where does time fit?
Yeah.
Supernatural.
Say time would fit into the supernatural category.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, because it's without chemical formula or structure, charge, matter, momentum, or spin, or millielectron volts, kcals, or kilojoules.
Okay.
Would you attribute time to be the same as sort of meters and miles and kilometers?
No,
Why not?
that's not. Why not? Because that's not the unit of time.
It's just saying, but by virtue of it being units, I almost said that, but I paused, thinking that might be a silly question. Thank you, Rebel.
You're going to try to make this natural by what arbitrarily we use as units to measure it. Well, a yardstick measures a football field, but the yardstick isn't a football field. Follow? Clock isn't time. Clock's a
Right.
clock. Right?
Okay, so what's length then? Is length also supernatural?
Hey, Rebel, when you're not speaking, you need to go on mute. Thank you.
Is a length, to carry on his question then? So is a length link supernatural?
Length is a concept.
Time is also a concept.
That's true.
How can it be supernatural? I'm not with you on this one.
Time,
Well,
yeah,
no,
but you're going off into an...
No.
Go ahead.
Just gonna say not because I disagree, just because I don't understand. Can it be supernatural? That makes no sense to me.
Well, supernatural, you have to define natural. We're going to do that here too, because supernatural is one of the topics. You have to define natural and supernatural. So like I said, to be natural, you have to have matter or energy. So that's why I always state for natural, chemical formula or structure, charge, matter, momentum or spin, or energy, millielectron volts, kcals, or kilojoules. So that defines matter and energy. Right? That's natural. Everything else that exists is supernatural by definition or synthetic. In this particular case, time itself, man didn't make time, so therefore it's supernatural.
Okay.
And conceptual. Obviously. Length, width, breadth. Could you say that these things were man-made? They're man-made concepts? Yeah, you could. There is some crossover between the categories, but not material to the discussion. It's not going to affect it all that much.
Yeah, got unusual veracity in the chat, agreeing with you. Concepts are abstract. I don't think they fall into either category of supernatural or natural. That's natural or synthetic, sorry. He said they fall into supernatural. So he's essentially agreeing with you.
What about math? Right? That's neither math. It's abstract, right? It's conceptual.
Oh.
Go ahead.
No, nothing.
So, who made math up? As far as we know.
We did.
Yeah. Yeah. So it contains no matter or energy, right? You can't give me a bag of fives and, you can't give me the electron volts of 6.23 because it has none. Doesn't have chemical formula either. So it's a little crossover between supernatural and man-made. Follow?
It's supernatural in the respect that it's informational.
It's supernatural. It's supernatural because it exists. Man conjured it, so it has existence, but it exists in an abstract. It's abstractness, right?
Okay.
It's not physical.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, there's no physicality to it whatsoever. Yeah, exactly.
I understand now. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for going through that with me.
No, that's a good discussion. I mean, there's, like I said, don't pigeonhole everything into being just one category or the other. That might. And that's a good point, because I did mention that there is some crossover. Some things have a little crossover with the other categories.
Does that get covered in this show?
I go over supernatural, yes.
The crossovers. So, for instance, you had something that was like, I think you use vitamin C as the example. If you synthesize vitamin C, its chemical structure is identical to natural vitamin C. It's still not natural. It's synthetic.
Right.
Even though the composition's identical. So there is a crossover in manufactured vitamin C or anything else of that type, for that matter. It matches the chemical composition, like diamonds or anything else that's man-made. It's still synthetic. Therefore falls out of category of investigation.
Yes, that particular, that isolated thing, if it's synthetic, like synthetic life, right? But it has to be that specific item that you're talking about. It's not a broad brush like all vitamin C, correct?
Yeah, so vitamin C is natural. However, if you synthesize it, it falls outside of science because that particular vitamin C is synthesized. It's not natural. Now, coincidentally, it's got the same exact structure and formula as everything else that's got associations with the real natural vitamin C, which you definitely could science if it was a phenomena, which it isn't. But you know what I mean?
Yes, and I think they differentiate that. There's another arbitrary term they put on it. It's artificial.
Artificial. Okay.
Yeah. Like, this is a very interesting topic. I mean, you could think about these things for the rest of your days, right? It's very interesting to try to put those into the different categories. Just pick anything and try to put it in there. Math is a really good one, right? Because they all rely on, when I say they, the ball tarts, I don't know, they think equations are like magical or something. Listen, mathematics, it's abstract. It has nothing to do with science. But equations only describe the effect. That's all they can do. So you're not doing anything. And most experiments are not quantitative, they're qualitative. We're looking for the cause of the effect. That's the most important thing. A lot of people miss that. That is the... Go ahead.
I don't think anybody said anything, but I will add to me because someone else made a noise to interrupt. Yeah, if you're trying to figure out whether or not you've used vitamin C, scurvy, right?
Yeah.
So how much scurvy? No. You just want to figure out what caused it. You know what I mean? It's irrelevant. You just want to figure out what the cause of the effect is, not how much the effect will be occurring. So when I give the example with acid and boiling water, oh, why is that hot spring boiling? Well, I'm going to formulate a hypothesis with acid as the independent variable. I think acid causes it. Mm-hmm. Well, if you then just forget the experiment like they do with heliocentrism and go, right, got a hypothesis, therefore I've got the explanation. Acid causes boiling water. Now let's maths how much the reaction will occur. Like, no, hold on. Does it actually cause the effect?
Right.
Let's figure out the qualitative property of it before the quantitative property. So if you're going to say heat, yeah, you've got your cause and how much heat. You could vary the altitude once you've got the cause to see how that changes it. Obviously holding the heat constant, but you've got your cause, so you can then maths the crap out of it if you choose to. But you've got to have the cause first, because everything else is irrelevant if you haven't actually figured out that the thing you're assuming and then putting values on is the cause when you haven't actually validated it, which is all they do in mathematics with heliocentrism. Look at that light in the sky. Oh, let's write a little story about what caused that. Now let's math the crap out of
it. Yeah, exactly. This is a little trick with their gravity too, right? It's so silly. Oh, we have equations that predict, number one, you're using prediction out of context. It's silly non sequitur. You ain't predicting anything. People have just watched things that, for example, fall down, go boom, boom, go splash, splash for about 5 billion times. So what they do is they produce an equation that describes that effect. You haven't done anything. You just got an effect. We're looking for the cause. We want to science this. So your equations are basically meaningless without the cause. In science, they are. And not all things fall down, go boom, boom, go splash, splash. I can list off 30, probably 40 things right here that destroys that. I'm just trying to say, with your equations, you're not doing anything. That's not science. Period. Get over it. But if you keep on parroting this stuff and bringing out your equations, we're going to have you bring out those equations and have you solve them for us. And we know you can't.
So you're saying that if you look at stuff in the sky and then look at your piece of paper and write down an equation, that's not science?
Yeah, that's not science whatsoever.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks.
You need an experiment.
You don't need an experiment to
How do you
produce an
experiment?
equation.
No, why not?
How do you experiment on anything in the sky, though?
Oh, that's my point. Like, for it to be scientific.
There is no scientific
Scientific
equation.
method.
That's the misnomer.
No, if I have an equation describing things fall,
Well,
we can't call it scientific.
no, it's not scientific. You just have an equation about how things fall.
Okay.
Yep.
No.
Yep. But they confuse it because they don't know what they're doing. They're just parroting wiki, right? Their epistemology is from
I
wiki.
just
They
did
just
that.
parrot it. And they're in simple category errors. And in fact, belly laughing category errors. Reconciled quite simply. So, okay.
Well, I mean, even now, I've conflated the two, equation and science. Describe it not the same. I haven't thought about it. Yeah, right. Not the same.
Yeah, because mathematics is abstract, whereas science or physics is physical. So they're antithetical to each other, right? Science is in the business of explaining through validated experiment cause and effect relationships, not describing the effects. Anyone could do that.
Right.
Simple as that. All right.
This is where the cross.
Go ahead.
This is where the magic trick happens. We've got a world that is abstract. Sphere Earth reality is an abstract reality. It's not physical. Abstract. So how can you take the abstract, turn it into what is perceived to be reality? Well, you convolute something that is empirically based in physicality, physics, science, and convolute it, merge it, twist it with abstractions, mathematics. That's the magic trick. That's what we've been subject to.
Yeah.
Hijacking of physicality with the abstract.
Yep, and they put the you walk under the pathway, and it has the arch of science, and mathematics is there, right? So everyone thinks by association, well, this must be science. No, it's not. Banana's not a tumbleweed, right? If you're going to define something, it has to have the characteristics or tenets of its category. And if it doesn't, it's not going to fit in that category. Simple as that. That's why. Go ahead.
I just want to stress this to the audience, right? The understanding of what we're describing right now, this second, understanding the deception as a whole. And it's really important that people understand the difference between maths and science, because that is how we've been lied to, using the words of empiricism, science, and calling it mathematics. Occasionally, we'll give people a hard time on our own side, flat earth side, when they use words like experiment. And right at the beginning of the show, we talked about Neil deGrasse Tyson and his cohorts talking about philosophy and mathematics, but using words like experiment, hypotheses. And they're using them, although they can be translated into mathematics in some instances, they're using them with the chantings of empiricism attached to them. In other words, we're saying we can figure out the world this way. Now let's look at the equation. No, that's where you've been duped, hijacked, swindled by these people, because they're not talking about the real world. They're not talking about the physical. They're talking about the abstract mathematics. And that's very, very, very important for the audience to understand if they want to know how the world has been turned from a flat plane that we obviously and observably live upon to a spherical world with people being antipode. That is how it's done. That world of people being antipodal to you, upside down if you want, in relation to where you're standing, by way of mathematics, by way of an abstraction. That's a philosophical viewpoint described to you with mathematics. That's all it is. It's not the physical world. So understanding where maths is not science is how to spot bullshit.
How many times did you use the word empirical or a shade of it? Here's another big problem. Empirical, it has a meaning. It is the summary of the scientific method. It is observable, testable, repeatable, and falsifiable. It's not just observable. Empirical, that's only part of the story. So to be empirical, it has to satisfy all 4 criterion. And by the way, the repeatability part of that is focused on the operator. That is experiment, not the observation. I can look at something and then close my eyes and open my eyes back up again and look at it again. That's not repeatability, for goodness sakes. Okay? So be careful about the words people use. They'll usually say it really fast. Yeah, but that's empirical, and then move on to the next one. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's go back to that empirical. No, it's not. You just observed it. Did you test it? Nope. Then it's not empirical. All right.
Yeah, people like I won't say names, but there's a certain baller who likes to say, yeah, we can manipulate the period in which we take down our observation. Well, that's what you're doing. You're manipulating your observation. You're not doing anything. You're not causing anything by looking at it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. They confuse time and duration. It doesn't have, it's all just Elmer Fudd sophistry that could be just calmly torn apart in about 5 seconds.
In other words,
One of the
you
details.
can't elucidate cause by merely.
Exactly.
One of the details.
Well,
So
if you're looking at a tree,
hold on. Just one
Go
sec,
ahead,
chocolate.
go ahead.
Sorry. Chocolate. One more thing. It's just because it's come from the chat. I just want to set this contextually in terms of when we talk about the words and theology that's going to be detailed in the presentation that QE is about to do. From the chat, Mike Patterson says, experimenting with drugs is not science. Correct. That's the colloquial terminology of experimentation. So you're doing wheelies and stuff on your bike. That's experimenting with your bike. That's the correct use of the word, but it's about the context. So we are talking about world in its physicality, nature, if you will. And that is described in science. So when you have that as your contextual base, you say the word experiment, and it's contextualized within science and has a specific meaning. But it's not like your kid experimenting with drugs or experimenting with his bicycle. That's not what we mean. It's contextualized within the subject matter. We are specifically talking about science. So when that word experiment is used, it's contextually meaning a hypothesis test. I wanted to add that in before you launch into your presentation.
Yeah, it's a good point. Chocolate, you have a small point you want to finish up with before we start?
No, I mean, it's such a silly thing, right? It's almost like they want to say, like, if you're looking at a tree, right, and you look at the tree, it's 5 feet tall. You measure it. All right, it's 5 feet. Did you actually look at it and cause it to be that tall? Is that what you're doing when you're manipulating the period in which you're taking down your observation and your measurements? You didn't cause the tree to be that tall. That's not why the tree is that tall. So how could you manipulate that?
Exactly. It's a concrete noun, too. Remember the algo. The first question you ask, is this a how, why explanation question, or is this a what is question? If it's a what is question, then it's not science to begin with. Now, if it's a how, why question, is this effect or natural phenomena natural or synthetic? Right? If it's synthetic, then you already got the answer to your question. It's not science. Then you put that aside. So is it natural? Now, can you vary and manipulate your presumed cause? If it's yes, then you're ready to go. If it's no, then it's not science. Good? Hopefully. Hey, we're going to roll. Mic discipline, please. Funny, I wanted to start out with this. This is a really cool sidebar right here that is connected to what we were just talking about. So let's go. Before we get information, let's touch on these. I used to present every presentation I had. I used to start off with this. So the fairy tale pseudoscience religions, let's go through them. Paleontology, anthropology, archaeology, geology, evolutionary biology. Yeah, and I'm still laughing, whatever that is. Theoretical physics, non-experimental, obviously, that's redundant. But in our genre, it's astrophysics, astronomy, and cosmology. That's the three that we deal with. Those are the liars of the heliocentric Baltard religion. Like I said, crocheting is more scientific than these clowns, all of them combined. These merely say. That's all they do. As opposed to the real sciences. Quantum mechanics, genetics, chemistry, biochemistry, and certain parts of biology. The difference is these show. See the difference? Say, show through validated experiments. That's empirical evidence. See, we talked about this term. See the difference? Very easy. Hopefully you see. If you don't see that, then I don't know what to tell you. Here's the mind-numbing, incoherent sleight of hand 99.999% of the scientific illiterate public has fallen for. The fairy tale pretenders ride on the coattails of the real sciences. You know, quantum mechanics, physics, chemistry, biochemistry. They ride on their coattails via juvenile equivocation fallacy with the term science. As in, well, we're all sciences. We're one big happy family. What's the problem? So as to pass off their metaphysical just-so stories as valid. This motif. Since transistors and MRIs work, therefore spinning balls, evolution, multiverses, dark matter, Big Bang, billions of years ad nauseum are scientific facts. I don't think so. It's fallacious. Called equivocation. Wake up. Now, moving on to the principle. Information. Well, what is it? Before we get to that, let's take a listen to Paul Davies, esteemed astrophysicist, I can't even remember what year this was. It wasn't that long ago. Information is more than just a description of our universe and the stuff in it. It is the most basic currency of existence, occupying what Paul Davies terms as the ontological basement of reality. We've heard that term before. I use that term a lot. Ontological primitives. He's close. Like I said, information is the consequent of its necessary antecedent, however, because you can't have information without a knower. So essentially, he's wrong. It's not the basement. Paul Davies is on the first floor. The basement or the ontological primitive is a knower. Hope you all got that. An intelligent agent, the creator. Information, let's define it. Very important. Very simple definition. Information, the communication or reception of knowledge or intelligence. That's it. Inform. See that? It informs. So it's the communication or reception of knowledge or intelligence. Make sure you keep that in mind throughout this presentation. I'll remind you as we go through. And the vehicle I am going to use is DNA, right? Does DNA contain information? Is the question. Well, let's have a look. DNA and information, right? In Nature, in 2003 from Hood and Gallus, the digital code of DNA. DNA has two types of digital information. The genes that encode proteins, which are the molecular machines of life, and the gene regulatory networks that specify the behavior of the genes. Back to Paul Davies again. He's over there at the Arizona State Origins Project. They got a shining cast of characters there. DNA is not a special life-giving molecule, but a genetic data bank that transmits its information using a mathematical code. Most of the workings of the cell are best described not in terms of material stuff, hardware, but as information or software. Trying to make life by mixing chemicals in a test tube is like soldering switches and wires in an attempt to produce Windows 98. It won't work because it addresses the problem at the wrong conceptual level. He is a screaming atheist telling you this. I don't even think he realizes the implications of what he just said on his own worldview. I can't believe he said this. He's also said much more than this. And I'm sitting there, everything he says contradicts his worldview. I don't get it. It's pretty funny, though. Let's go with the grand poobah of genetics, the geneticist of geneticists, Dr. Craig Venter. Over the next 60 minutes, I explained how life ultimately consists of DNA-driven biological machines. All living cells run on DNA software, which directs hundreds to thousands of protein robots. We have been digitizing life for decades, since we first figured out how to read the software of life by sequencing DNA. Now we can go in another direction by starting with computerized digital code, designing a new form of life, chemically synthesizing its DNA, and then booting it up to produce the actual organism. Wow! What's he calling this? He's calling it software. All these guys are calling it software. What is software? Information. So we have another, how would we call it, hostile witness. Richard Dawkins in The Blind Watchmaker. There is enough storage capacity in the DNA of a single lily seed or a single salamander sperm to store the Encyclopedia Britannica 60 times over. Some species of the unjustly called primitive amoebas have as much information in their DNA as 1,000 Encyclopedia Britannicas. Wow. Back to Dr. Craig Venter. DNA is actually the software of life. Chemically, we wrote the genome starting with 4 bottles of chemicals, literally going from the ones and zeros in the computer to writing the 4-letter alphabet, and shown, in fact, that it's totally interchangeable between the digital world and the biological world. That's a heck of a statement. We then wrote the entire 1.1 million letters of the genetic code, booted it up, and got a new cell, driven totally by the software, by the information. So that's what we call synthetic life. We actually use living cells to boot it up, but you change the software and you change the species. These are amazing, astonishing testimonies of what I'm talking about here. And he's a screaming atheist too. I don't get it. I cannot. These are intelligent people, but they're contradicting themselves with every other breath. They're not making the connection, the follow-on logic. Right? I don't get it. That's all right. I'll continue to use you. Appreciate it. From H.P. Yockey. He is the king of information theory. It's not Claude Shannon. It's H.P. Yockey is the father of information theory, folks. from the origin of life on Earth and Shannon's theory of communication. He even mentions them in here. There is nothing in the physico-chemical world that remotely resembles reactions being determined by a sequence of codes between sequences. The existence of a genome and the genetic code divides living organisms from non-living matter. That's pretty simple. H.P. Yockey again, the genetic code performs a mapping between the sequences of the 4 nucleotides in messenger RNA to the sequences of the 20 amino acids in a protein. It is highly relevant to the origin of life that the genetic code is constructed to confront and solve the problems of communication and recording by the same principles found both in the genetic information system and in modern computer and communication codes. You see this? He's putting these two, he's juxtaposing them and then saying they're more or less the same. Well, who builds computer and communication codes? Well, intelligent agents do. It just doesn't happen in nature. Well, who builds the genetic information system, which dwarfs the functional sequence complexity of this modern computer and communication codes? What do you think? So nature builds this one, eh? My word. All right, this is very important, and we all know this. Codes. This is from Grunwald, Vitania, Algorithmic Information Theory, and everyone will resonate with this. It's very easy. We repeatedly consider the following scenario. A sender, say A, wants to communicate or transmit some information to a receiver, say B. The information to be transmitted is an element from some set X. Mic discipline, please. It will be communicated by sending a binary string called the message. When B receives the message, he can decode it again and hopefully reconstruct the element X that was sent. Here's where the rubber meets the road. To achieve this, A and B need to agree on a code or a description method before communicating. That's very important. So my question is it possible for inanimate matter, atoms, molecules, elementary particles, to make agreements? Huh? If not, then there's no information existing, people. So, the big kahunas. In order to have information, folks, you have to have these. Makes perfect sense. And it echoes algorithmic information theory. Number one, you need a transmitter and a receiver, right? Because information is the communication or reception of knowledge or intelligence. So you have to have this to have information. And agreement on the following: the medium or mediums of conveyance. Number 3, the convention. And 4, meaning. You have to have all of these to have information exist. Just that simple. Let's stop right there. Questions, comments?
So for
Citation
receiver
always.
and transmitter, it's not necessarily to do different things.
Did you catch that? Catch that from you, Rebel. Sorry. Bit too quiet for
I
me.
didn't catch that.
Sorry, I was on mute. I went on mute. Rebel, you're going to have to speak up. I turned you up. Say what you said again.
So for when you
it's
mentioned for the information to exist, they have to be a receiver and transmitter, among other things. And I'm just sort of thinking out loud. A receiver and transmitter information could be one and the same entity.
The receiver and the transmitter could... No, it can't be. It has to be separate.
Really?
Yeah, you're not informing yourself. You already know.
I think. Do you mean that you can be a transceiver? In other words, I can give out information and receive it. That's absolutely
Well,
true.
if I want to store information, right? That would be a information sort of transmitter. I'm transmitting it to medium with DNA, and then I'm reading back from it.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, Okay, you've got information stored within you and it's being accessed from various different parts. I can kind of see what you're saying.
No, even on a most fundamental, like simple cell organism, I can imagine. I don't know much about it, but I can imagine that within the mechanisms of simple cell structure, this organism constructs the DNA and then deconstructs the DNA.
Right. Or if you think about the process of repairing a piece of damage to yourself, to your body, going to have to obviously be an exchange of information somewhere for that process to be completed. Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but still going to be a transmission of information in that process, though.
Right. So there'll be different components among, like there's a point of irreducible complexity reached that you would have to have. Again, when we talk about receiver and transmitter, we talk not necessarily about entity, but maybe components.
I don't want to go off on a tangent of nothingness for the next 30 minutes. Keep your comments concise and to the point, okay?
So to round that back up, to get back on track or whatever, there's got to be a exchange is kind of the point. There has to be a receiver and a transmitter for that process to be completed.
Yes. The basic ones and the other three that I said. The medium, meaning, and the conveyance mechanism. You got to have a convention. If I'm sending, let's say I just make up a convention on my own. I tell you, okay, get ready. There's some information coming. We're going to go over this here in a few seconds, by the way. But I put it in, I just make up a convention. It's based on Swahili and Russian, right? Or I just conjure one out of something that I just made up, and I send you the message. Are you going to understand it? No, then it's not information.
I can give you an example. So if you're at a baseball game, you watch the receiver giving the pitcher signals. Now, if you're watching that from the stands and you don't know what their hand signals are, there's no information exchange, right?
That's a good one. Yes. Yep. And you better make sure you have the medium. Like I said, we're going to go over this here over the next few minutes. So it'll become
before you do.
Go ahead.
Before you do, one just
quickly
clarify something. You mentioned something at the earlier in the presentation about somebody making statements about booting a cell. Could you clarify
about what?
Booting a cell, like
yeah, we're not going to get into
binary.
that. Go look at Craig Venter. Yeah, they created a synthetic cell. You can go study that. Yes. Yeah. Anything else before we move on? All right, let's roll. So, like I said, here's a perfect example. So, which one of these is information? Then, why or why not? Obvious, rhetorical. You don't need to answer this. But let's take a look at it. So, take a look at number one right here. What is the information here? Right? And, I've done you a favor. I've put these in English letters. Right? And I typed them out for you, so at least you have that. But what is the information in number one? No one's going to ever be able to tell me, right? What's the information in number two? Meet me at Joe's for drinks, right? There's definitely information there. It's informing me of something, right? But there's nothing in one. Why? Well, after I give you the cipher for one, they both contain the same exact information. Meet me at Joe's for drinks. What's the difference? We didn't agree on the cipher, right? I gave you the medium and the convention, but I didn't give you the meaning beforehand. So the cipher is every fourth letter. See, I needed to tell you that before you can extract the information out of here. Before that, it wasn't information. You had nothing. Like I said, for information to exist, you not only need a transmitter and a receiver, but they need to agree beforehand. They need agreement beforehand on meaning, medium, and convention. Another example. What's the information here? Right? You could just, this is preposterous, right? Give me a break. Right? You're not going to be able to extract anything out of there. Well, the information is Jesus saves. The cipher is every 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, and then start over. Right? Without that cipher, it's time to go clean the bathroom because you ain't getting it. It's also important to identify because we already identified what information is. It's also good to do the flip side. What information isn't. Your interpretation of the physical effects or consequences of the existence of inanimate objects is not information. It's your imagination. Remember what I said. Remember the definition of information. It's the communication or reception of knowledge or intelligence. So when I put my hand under running water, the water's not informing me that it's wet or that it's cold or that it's hot. When a tree branch falls in the woods, the sound waves aren't telling me or communicating with me that I've fallen and I can't get up. I hope this is crystal clear to everyone. This really puts the stopper on it. Because you'll have people saying, well, what about the atoms? They're giving me information. No, they're not. The atoms aren't talking to you, son. If they are, there's some 1-800 numbers I could give you. So, everyone's favorite subject, supernatural. This term has more baggage than Samsonite. So, let's break it down. Super is the prefix. What does that mean? Well, that means over and above. Well, then what does natural mean? Let's go to nature. The physical world and everything in it. Or natural is generally just the physical material world. The super means above or beyond. So, supernatural, above or over the material. Mike, discipline, please. So, supernatural, above or over the material, physical world or universe. Makes sense. Follows. So, like I said, it logically follows that the supernatural is immaterial, completely lacking matter or energy, right? Yeah. Norbert Wiener, professor of mathematics, MIT, from 1948. Information is information, neither matter nor energy. Uh-oh, philosophical naturalists or atheists, you need to turn away. Maybe now it's too late, because this pummels your worldview into the incoherent oblivion. Therefore, it logically follows that the supernatural is immaterial. So, as a philosophical naturalist or atheist, how do you explain the existence of the supernatural? Information. How do you explain that? When it can't exist in your worldview. The only things that can exist are physical and material. That's it. So you disagree and object to this, right? Of course you will. This will only last for about 10 or 15 seconds. Depends on how many times you interrupt me. Okay, if information is matter, like I said, please post the chemical formula or structure, charge, matter, momentum, or spin. Or if it's information, energy, then please post millielectron volts, kcals, or kilojoules. If you can't do that, and you can't, or look out, there's a tiger behind you, because you'd have better chances showing or sprouting broccoli from your armpits. You can't do it. This has no matter or energy in it. None. As simple as that. I usually with the highbrow arguments, I'll get into this. I'll just ask them, please elucidate the information or instructions on DNA proper for amino acyl tRNA synthetase and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase. I need you to put the instructions for those in a jar and paint it red. You can't do it. The question is inane. Back to Professor Paul Davies. The way life manages information involves a logical structure that differs fundamentally from mere complex chemistry. Therefore, chemistry alone will not explain life's origin. any more than a study of silicon or copper and plastic will explain how a computer can execute a program. I love it. That is exactly right, Professor Davies. I couldn't have said that better myself. How can he still be an atheist after that statement? I don't know. Can somebody please tell me that? And what you'll get is you'll get atheists saying, oh, it's just complex it's just chemistry. No, it's not. It has nothing to do with chemistry. That's just the medium of conveyance. That's not the information. We're going to get into that. Information or software is semiotic. That is, it's not physical or material or physically a part of its medium of conveyance. Letters, that is, numbers, symbols, are just prearranged conventions between the transmitter and receiver for communication and to understand the message. Software is the meaning. It's the information. The code is the symbols that represent the agreed upon meaning. This is a good one right here. This takes me back a few years. Walk down memory lane. See this? Yeah, this is C-A-T. Cat. This is a code? Yeah. For what? Well, letters C, A, and T aren't spelled out on its fur. Cat is the code name we intelligent agents gave it. The message is the agreed upon meaning or the software. It's semiotic. In Croatian, it's Mačka. Which one is correct? Which one's correct? The C-A-T or the Mačka? Right? Well, they're both correct. Right? Because it's arbitrary. We just assigned it. We agreed on. I could call it anything as long as we got agreement on it. Right? I converted a lot of people with this example right here. Because this brings it on home. Paul Revere. Well, what's the code? The 1 light or 2 lights, right? What's the software or the information? It was the agreed upon meaning between Paul and the Patriots, who created the software and the message, the 1 if by land or 2 if by sea, right? Who created that software? The Lights or Paul Revere and the Patriots? According to the materialist or realist or philosophical naturalist or atheist, according to their worldview, it was the Lights who created the message. How insane is that? Right? Guess the photons are talking to you, right? What would have happened? This is very important. Listen to this closely. What would have happened if Paul Revere never met and then agreed on the meaning, medium, and convention with the Patriots and just sent signals, 1 light or 2 lights from the Old North Church? What do you think would have happened? What if the Patriots were sleeping? Right, he never met the Patriots. How did he even know there were Patriots to begin with? We're getting into absurdity. Like I said, moreover, was it the lights, the medium that coordinated the meeting? No, that's freaking insane. Again, information is semiotic. It's not a physical entity or a part of the medium of conveyance. Photons from Paul Revere's lamps weren't physically carrying information like Kelly Slater at the Bilbao Tahiti Pro. The lights were just the medium used to signal the intelligent agents who then assigned the prearranged meaning. Information now exists. It is only then they know which path. How you like that? You're looking at a code right now. It's called the English language. The software or the information is the preemptive, agreed upon convention so we can understand the message. It's all semiotic. Without meaning, convention, there is no information or code. It's utter noise. Like my example before, if you don't know Swahili and I'm giving you messages in Swahili, right? You're not going to understand it. There's no information. You're not being informed. It's noise. Code, information, or software is always, ever, ever, ever sourced by intelligent agency without exception. The same exact concept here, right? Got these letters that mean proline, leucine, These mean stop. What's the physicochemical links between the code and the amino acid or instruction here? Right? What is it? Moreover, the laws of physics and chemistry contain no symbolic logic functions. How is this meaning this? Right? There's also a different language here. Right? Because this is messenger RNA. It's replaced. This isn't DNA language. A quarter of the language is now replaced with another language. Unbelievable, dudes. These be peeping. This, if you don't get it after this statement, then I don't know what to tell you. From Ed Lewis, PhD genetics. He's a Nobel laureate from Caltech. Listen closely. The laws of genetics have never depended upon knowing what genes are chemically and would hold true even if they were made of green cheese. What's he telling you here? What I've been telling you above. The medium of conveyance is meaningless. It's arbitrary. The physicochemical DNA molecule is merely the medium. It's like I said, it's arbitrary. It's the same as someone writing, look out, there's a tiger behind you with chalk, sand, Cheerios, Etch-a-Sketch, M&Ms, 3/4 inch nuts. I can go on and on. So the chemistry is meaningless. And what do you always hear? Well, it's a complex chemical reaction. No, has nothing to do with it. You're a moron. Certifiable. From Roger Sperry, PhD, neurobiologist, another Nobel Prize winner. This is an outstanding statement. The meaning of the message will not be found in the physics and chemistry of the paper and the ink. Yeah, he's got it. To say the physical chemical forces are responsible for the message, information, meaning is tantamount to viewing a magnetic board with the message, be back later, gone fishing. The instructions are on the table. Have the exponentially, functionally specific complex space shuttle built when I return. Have a nice day. You then conclude that the force between the magnets of the letters and the board is responsible for the construction, the arrangement of the letters, and the message thereof. That's your conclusion if you're an atheist or a philosophical naturalist. Same thing. Is that your story? If it is, I suggest you keep it to yourself and never, ever even whisper such in the galactic vicinity of a mental health professional. Because you're going to be institutionalized forcibly. Information is a consequent of its necessary antecedent, intelligent agency. Code contains information, such as a book, Morse code, instructions. Information always has an author. DNA is a code, therefore DNA has an author. Can't be debunked. It's over. It's over for you. And what do we get? Well, nobody has ever seen it. Mike, discipline, please. What do we get? Nobody has ever seen the creator, therefore cannot be validated. Well, I'd beg to differ, Jesus Christ, but fair enough. However, the compelling factor of the matter is information existing. That's DNA, the hallmark of all life. Who instantiated the code? Who instantiated the code? That's the question, right? We all know it had to be an intelligent agent because it's information. It doesn't logically follow that because he doesn't reveal himself currently, physically, to then ipso facto conclude he doesn't exist or no evidence exists. That's non sequitur. Remember, the consequent information only follows from the necessary antecedent intelligent agency. It's over. It's the necessary antecedent consequent game. Simple as that. My argument is intelligent agency and information, and they are exhibit A to Z. I present, that's my case from A to Z. I can just stop. Simple refutation. Here's what you need to do. You walk into a restaurant, open up the menu, and read Peking duck with roasted garlic, $28.95. That's information. Then conclude, until you see the specific intelligent agent that wrote it, that there's an equal chance that the ink, paper, and glue molecules that make up the menu are responsible for the construction, arrangement of the letters, and the message thereof. Remember I said above, see the mental health professional and the whisper right there, right up above? DNA contains information, algorithm, programs within programs and subfolders of programs. It has enough functionally specific complex information, 1/1000th of which would make Einstein blush, in a teaspoon to fill a stack of books from here to the alleged distance of the moon and back 500 times. Your conclusion? Absent the specific intelligent alien who wrote the menu, ribose, nucleobases, and activated phosphates, the ink, paper, and glue molecules in this little analogy, authored the menu and instructions DNA. Shroom-induced coma is being kind. So, I apologize in advance if my next statement offends you. Everyone watching or will watch, I mean no harm, insult, or malicious intent. However, there comes a time to put away childish things and ideas. Because if you're 10 years old or older, and this doesn't have you on your knees in less than a plank time, then you need to check your pulse. If you have one and can't reconcile this, I mean right now, then turn your tricycle in at the next depot and report to the Who and Where Am I institution immediately. Thanks for your ear. Have a nice day. Comments, questions?
Ed Lewis quote reminded me of, again, what I was discussing at the beginning with you all at the Neil deGrasse Tyson panel, and talking about the theory of everything. They're essentially describing how if we can verbalize with convention enough stuff and then describe it with maths, we'll be able to explain everything. It's like they were doing precisely what you've just described in detail. The other thing was, if you take his statement, I don't know if you can bring it back up on screen, and replace the first couple of words with nature of the world, as opposed to what he said, it makes exactly the same sense, which is to say that the nature of the world that we live in will not change regardless of how you think you can describe it or summarize conventions to detail it to another person to transmit information about it. Having a really great map of how to describe the nature of your world around you doesn't make that description the world. But that's precisely what's happened. Here we go. So instead of the laws of genetics, nature of reality. If you can you transpose that on and read it so I'm not saying it?
You want me to read it over again for you?
Just say the nature of reality instead of the law of genetics.
You want me to change the citation? I can't do that.
Just to transpose it on top. I'm not saying change the citation. This is going to
be okay. The laws of nature.
If you like.
The laws of nature have never depended upon knowing what genes are chemically.
No, I've depended on knowing what nature is. Chemically, if you like. The point being that it doesn't matter how much you think you know about the world around you. It doesn't mean that you're going to fundamentally change the world around you, right? It just is what it is.
Yeah. Ed Lewis, man. I read a lot on Ed Lewis. It's really something else, man. He's so friggin' smart. He put everyone in their place, dude. And this statement just epitomizes him. I love it because it drives the point home, especially with information, about confusing the medium of conveyance with the information itself. They're two different things. I love it.
Excellent. I love concise statements like that.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. All right.
You want to steal them and change them. Or I do.
All right, who else
was
we
that?
got? Go ahead.
Is that the full presentation? You said thanks for your ear.
Yeah, that's the full presentation, yes.
Very good. Very, very good.
Well, thank you. I wanted to keep it concise, right? I don't have to go on and on for days and days and days about what information is. Now, I had to be comprehensive with it and touch on many different aspects. But I think if you can fog a mirror, you can get it, hopefully. The only way you can't get it is to purposely be ignorant. That's the only way I think there's no chance. I mean, a third grader can get this with very little difficulty, in my opinion.
We've got a ballbuster. Got chocolate.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it seems pretty easy for people. I don't know, like a lot of the guys that like I don't understand how you would confuse the medium of, like, when you say conveyance and the message itself. That the message can't come from the medium. That makes no sense. It would, like, how would that make any sense whatsoever? Like, if you walk by a sign that says "Beware a dog," if you don't know what that means, if you can't read English, read and speak English, and understand what those words mean and know what a dog is, then the sign might as well just say "blah," right? And if the person who made the sign didn't know enough to know English and be able to convey what a dog is and know enough to put the sign there, there's no information flowing through there.
Well,
it's so simple to see that. Like, I don't get why people get confused by that.
Well, they go back. What they do is they misdefine. Well, most people don't even define information. They just say information and then, try to prove something they haven't defined. It's an old game, right? It's like evolution. They start out with proofs of it, but never define it. Therefore, everything they say as their proofs means evolution. It's a little trick they got going. So it's the same thing for information. Always ask people when they're discussing subjects to define what they are talking about specifically. That way, and make sure you have them say it twice so they can't get around and play the little friggin' Elmer Fudd game. Right? Have you chasing your tail all around, because this goes with the Coriolis effect. It's with everything. If you don't get them to define it, then I'm going to blame you. I'm not going after them. I'm going after you. Follow? Not you personally, Chocolate. Not you, the royal you.
Yeah, I know. I got you.
All right, what do we got here? We only got 3. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you want me to run down the list and start asking people?
You can if you like. Yes.
Despite everything, got anything to add? How did you find the presentation? Any questions, comments? Really not. EE? Questions, comments? Anything you wanted to add to the presentation? Earth to GE. Come in, GE. Once, going twice. Fair enough. Show, anything to add? Any questions, comments?
I'd like to comment. Yeah, great job, Huey.
Hold on, Rebel.
Not the first time. Okay.
We'll get to you right at the end of the list, though, Rebel. I will come to you, though. Show, going once, going twice. Really not. Neil, anything to add? Did you like the presentation? Any comments?
It's outstanding as usual. Outstanding. I don't understand why ballers are not getting it, but we all know why.
Thank you very much. But no means least before Rebel, at least. RC Meisty, any questions, comments? Brad?
No, it's one of the few categories of things that I agree with you on. Logic is internally consistent.
Thank you very much. Cool. Do you want to add? I know you do. Go ahead, Rebel.
I have nothing really to add. Just to say that this is not the first time or the second time from you with the same or similar one. And to be honest, every time I hear it, I get offended, because not because of your fault or any kind, it's because it's kind of simple, but at the same time very deep concept to grasp. I agree with you. It's simple once you kind of break it down, but to break it down in these terms That is a very hard thing to do. For me, for example, to translate that to my kids, I would have to write it down first and read it, trying to internalize it to explain it. You know what I mean? It's simple, but it's not simple. Deep.
I agree. It's good to have your thoughts written down. With anything, you could get really complex with this, but I don't think you need to with your kids. I think they can understand these concepts relatively. Don't give them DNA. You know, don't be talking about biochemistry with them or stuff. Just simple things, just simple communication. That's all you need to do.
I know I'm blowing my own trumpet, but I quite like my baseball example. If you're going to talk to a kid about it, that's what I would use.
That's a good example.
Right. No, I agree. It's a good example. Yeah, you need to have know where you need to establish the means communication, meaning of the signs or signals or code. I mean, I'm a developer, software developer myself, and I've never thought of these subjects in this manner myself. Deal with code all the time, but once you transpose it onto the DNA and start thinking about it, you understand. I mean, you have to have a programmer to write the software, and then a machine, a cell, or some living organism to interpret it, execute it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect. So my dad was also a programmer. Did you ever have somebody lean over your shoulder as you're working and go, "What the hell is that?"
Quite often, yes.
Right. But to you, not like you sat there reading matrix code. It's just you understand the logic of your program is, and what each symbol and sign means, and what it does when it's in a certain order. And to you, you're just reading what you've put down because you understand the convention. The dude who leans over your shoulder, however, there's no information being communicated to him now, is there?
Great example. That's a really good example too, Nathan. Really good.
No, this isn't simplistic stuff, but by the same token, it can be. With a bit of concise explanation from someone like Quantum Eraser. There's been points along this explanation that I've gone, I don't understand, but you get a brief expansion on what it, and you go, yeah, it does make quite simple sense. It's not simple, but it is relatively easy to understand with a good explanation like Quantum Eraser's given. That's why these BALLBUSTERS shows are what they are. Rewatch them if you don't get it. Just that simple.
Well, thank you.
I do.
Go ahead.
The hardest part. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The hardest part for me is to realize the concept of irreducible complexity. That's the bit where I have to accept God and creation or deny it outright. That's the bridge that one has to cross.
That's something we'll have to get into another show, I reckon. I know I can say that with confidence because QE's already said that once to you, but I'm sure we will cover that on another BALLBUSTERS. But there is another couple of other panel members, so I'm gonna pop you on mute again. Thank you very much, Rebel. Hello, who have we got?
Redman.
Redman.
Yep.
Anything to add? Any comments, questions?
I didn't know y'all was doing BALLBUSTERS today. I didn't get the notification. I'm getting in. Sorry. I don't have anything to add right now, so I'm listening. Sorry.
Good to have you. Thank you for being here. We've also got, is it Skeptical? Hello, how you doing? Any questions, comments?
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Can I be heard, really?
Have you? Any questions,
Hello.
comments?
Hello, guys. Hello.
Can you not hear us?
Hello.
Hello, can you not hear us?
Nathan, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yeah, guys, I can hear you properly. So, first of all, thank you, Quantum Eraser, for the richness of the presentation. Honestly, really, honestly, mate, it's simplistic, but it's powerful, really, and I have nothing really to add. So, Thank you once again for for basically for the work you've done. Yeah, so it's completely powerful, really, mate. I got completely surprised, honestly. I've never been exposed to such richness in my entire life. In just very simple, but the way you sort of convey it, and it's absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. I think that's the best compliment I ever had regarding this. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much.
I wholeheartedly agree as well. We've also got Travis. Just off his mute. There we go, Travis. Hello.
Hey, can you guys hear me this time?
We can. Hello.
Outstanding. Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, I
Sure,
actually
it's
had quite a bit to say. I was sorry.
Go ahead. Any questions, comments, remarks?
Yes, I've got quite a few actually. I wanted to hop in about 40 minutes ago, but I was having mic issues. So the single cell, what is it? The amoeba, John? Is that what you were saying? That has the information of 1,000 Encyclopedia Britannicas?
Yes.
And is that from what I recall back in school, you were talking about the 4 building blocks of life. And I had a question. My question was those four building blocks, Alpha, Charlie, Golf, and Tango. Do those always pair up?
Do they always pair up?
Correct. I remember them only being in pairs. So
yeah, they can
we
pair. They can pair up. I don't know about always. It just depends.
At least for DNA, RNA.
Well, watch out for RNA. That's another like I said, there's some substitutions in there.
Okay. Fair enough. I also, let's see. So you were also relating breaking down. When I was in high school, they had just done this, or they were doing it, and they were basically trying to break the code, the genetic code, and they were doing it with computers, and they upgraded their computing capacity, and they were able to do it much faster, at a much faster rate. And so, yeah, so essentially what that gentleman or that quote said was that essentially the 4 building blocks, adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine, those 4 things, just like the ones and zeros in binary code, actually transmuted into cyber software, essentially creating synthetic info, and that's equal to the living software code. Like, this just blew my mind when you said it. So the living software code that we actually are able to transpose the order and information onto the cyber, and they actually come out the same. Over.
You've lost me.
You were talking about changing the software and then changing the cell.
That's
changing
correct.
The cell through the cell.
Yeah, if you change the
Right.
sequences, yes, because remember, these aren't the only. There's not only 4 building blocks of life. The amino acids that make up proteins, those also come in. There's a lot of building blocks of life, just not those 4. But yeah, if you change that code, if you change the sequence, but it's got to make sense though, because there are commands. Not only amino acids or their sequence, their primary structure, there's commands like start, stop, right? So if you change that sequence, you're going to change the primary structure. Once the primary structure is changed, look out. The whole molecule can change. Follow?
Yeah, I think I do. Thank you.
Think of it like a building site with various different things being put into place to make the building exist, like the blueprints and the men and the machinery, but there's also the mixing of the ingredients. If you change, say, the composition that you're going to mix with the cement, then everything will fall apart. The same principle.
What's even crazier is you have the protein coding structures of DNA, sometimes like 1 billion miles away on a part of the DNA, in DNA size, 1 billion miles away. The instructions are there for that protein that's being made. So it's absolutely, it's mind-boggling. You know, when people say mutations, they just mutations. They don't know what the heck they're talking about. You not only have to mutate the protein coding, right? You have to mutate the instructions over in Zimbabwe, which is preposterous ludicrousness, absurdity, right? So this gets deep, but like I said, there's folders, subfolders, subfolders of information just with the DNA molecule, right? Not even talking about the RNAs. There's it's overwhelming, the amount of information that goes into this to make robots, essentially protein robots. You know, like Dr. Craig Venter said, that's what they are. Make no mistake about it. Right? Without those protein robots, life would not exist. We're getting off the beaten path here. I just wanted to concentrate on the information part. That's the most important.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I was going to go to next. I was just going to reiterate what you had said before. Information is supernatural in origin, and supernatural is immaterial. And so that would make information neither matter nor energy, i.e. immaterial. And to a philosophical naturalist, that is a hangman's noose, I would say.
Yes.
You know, those that believe that matter and energy must be the only things in existence. You know, there's their noose. And then also, I really love how you talk about information conveyance, you know, agreed upon convention or conveyance to elucidate intelligent intent, i.e. receiving, you know, the intent or meaning of it. And my thing is, which is really interesting, is DNA, as far as I understand, it was in a way reverse engineered or reverse, you know, understood. It's like we understand code and coding to an extent, and we understand language and different, you know, the different ways that, you know, information can be essentially written down, like you're talking about different languages.
Yes.
So I don't know. It just blows my mind. Thank you.
No. I love this topic. This is one of my favorite topics, and you're right. The atheist conversations that go on for hours and hours and hours about how they're scientists and there is no God. This conversation is over in 10 seconds. It'll be shorter if I don't get interrupted. It's I just put it, it's dead. That's why I just look at these people talking, these atheists talk. I'm rolling my eyes because they're just whistling. It is the poster child for whistling past the graveyard. And the funny thing is, they think they're intellectuals. That's what cracks me up about their what in the world? Dunning-Kruger clinical level. I don't know, dude. It's scary out there, man.
Yeah, well, we got a phrase in my field that I work in, and I'm sure you've heard it before. You know, it's something that's so obvious and right in front of you, you know, or i.e. under your nose. We basically say, you know, hey, if it was a snake, it would have bit you.
Yep.
Over.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You, Travis. I think we've got one other new guest, which is cult leader something or other.
No, Carlos the pagan. I sure hope you're not a pagan, but go ahead. You got him, Nathan?
Head cult leader.
Which one you got? Cult leader. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Go ahead with the cult leader. Go ahead, Nathan.
Leader Enigma. Any questions, comments, anything to add on information? Clearly not. The new guest, which is Carlos. So, Carlos, any questions, comments? Did you need to add anything? Any questions on information specifically?
Yeah. How does satellites work in a flat Earth?
Wow. Right. That.
Go ahead.
What satellites? Where are these satellites exactly? What satellites are you talking about?
Oh no, I'm just saying, how do the parabolic dishes that work for TV and communication work on the flat Earth? What are they looking at? What are they pointing at? What's the source of the signal?
Ground towers. Creates your satellite dish point.
Or let me rephrase the question. Why do satellite dishes for TV and communications at the northern hemisphere point towards the southern hemisphere, and the ones in the southern hemisphere point towards the northern hemisphere?
Hemisphere is making the question fallacy. Word hemisphere.
Well, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. North. Why are the ones that are in the north side of the equator point towards the south? Why are the satellite dishes in the south part of the equator point towards the north? And why the ones in the equator point almost straight up?
Don't know. Can you hold on a second? I don't know. Do you have an explanation?
No, I'm coming here because I'm curious of how that works on a.
Oh well, I don't usually explain things that I don't make claims for. It's one of my refrigerator rules. Now, if you have an explanation on how that works, I'd like that, along with, it sounds like a cause and effect relationship. So with your explanation along with that, can you provide the scientific validation?
No. I'm here asking questions.
You're asking questions. You're asking me to explain something. Do you follow this? Do you walk up, like, do you go to the gas station and then you see other people, getting gas, and you walk up to them and then you ask them to explain something they haven't made claims for?
No.
What would happen if you do that?
Well, in that setting, I would probably say, go away from me, you weirdo.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. Yeah.
But you know what? This is not a gas station, and
I know.
And,
it still applies.
It's not the same thing.
It still applies.
It's not a gas station, but you're doing the same thing, though. Right?
No.
But
And
that's
you're
okay.
not
That's
even
okay.
on
No,
point
listen,
with-
Chocolate. That's okay. That's okay. I know where you're going. You're saying okay. There's satellites now. Where are these satellites at?
No. I was asking the question: how does the satellite communication work on the flat Earth? Because they're pointing up.
If the satellite, I don't know. Maybe they're on balloons. I don't know.
Okay. Well, you don't know. That's good enough answer.
Yep.
That was my question.
Okay.
For you, Carlos. How much time have you spent on the equator?
Let's see. I've never been to the equator. I've been to Panama.
I never saw a dish pointing up. Worked in TV. That's what I did when I was there. I was working with people's audio equipment and TV reception and things of that nature.
Huh?
I never saw a dish pointing up.
You never saw a satellite. I'm sorry, a parabolic dish pointing upwards.
Shall I repeat myself slower?
Yes.
I did not see a dish pointing up when I was on the equator dealing with television equipment. I asked you how much time you spent on the equator. You said none. Given that I work with that specific type of equipment on the equator with people and their hi-fis, their AV equipment, audio-visual equipment for TV reception, I never saw a dish pointing up. I'd just like to know, where have you got this idea from?
Okay, but before I tell you where, you said you work with TV equipment and high gain antennas and high quality or whatnot. Now those are dipole omnidirectional antennas, right? For ground station, ground towers, correct?
That was what I said to you, ground towers. That was my first.
Correct. So I'm not speaking about TV system from ground towers. I'm talking about satellite parabolic dishes. Those antennas are different than the ones you're speaking of. So I wouldn't expect you to work with those or perhaps seen those. But there is satellite TV service and satellite communication in the equator. And you can do a search and look up C-band parabolic dishes, and you tell me which way they're pointing. Because if you're saying that because you haven't seen them while you were over there, therefore, I'm wrong. But you can just either call somebody from over there or just search from images of C-band parabolic dishes in the equator.
Okay, and C-band pointing up proves what exactly?
Nothing. I'm just I'm giving you the answer of your question of where in the equator are parabolic dishes pointing up. I'm telling you, look it up.
If it is the case, does it prove? It's your claim. You're asking us about it like we've made a claim, which we haven't. But I'm saying, what does this prove?
Nothing. I'm not here to prove anything. I'm asking questions.
Okay.
Well, you base that question on if it's how does that work on a flat Earth? Well, if Earth is flat, who cares how it works?
Right. And so my question is, if we're in a flat Earth and it works, what are the mechanics of this system and how it works? That's my question.
What's the
relevance to that?
What's the relevance? It proves nothing. If it doesn't prove anything, who cares?
Okay.
How does the
enough.
mechanism work? What? Yeah, that has nothing to do with the topic. That it doesn't prove flat or sphere. That's for sure.
Let's round this out with a question. So, Carlos, typically in the comments, one does the same, right? They ask me a question to justify how something works on a flat plane. I ask them this question. Let's see how you get on. Right? Explain amateur sycamore pollination in the north of England on a globe. Oh.
Yeah, that's a good one. But you know why it's not the same thing.
Why?
I'll tell you what.
We're not on a globe.
Yeah, fair enough. Sure. No. The reason I'm asking that question is because if you were to look at all these parabolic dishes and the orientation of where they're pointing, and if you were to place all these dishes in a spherical model, they will all point to what we call the equator.
There it is.
Right. Right.
Hello. So when I said hemisphere, taking the question fallacy, what you mean is if you automatically assume the Earth is a sphere and then make this example on the automatic assumption that we're standing on a sphere, you can make a claim that this assumption that we're standing on a sphere and your random nonsense that typically proves nothing unless you assume you're on a sphere proves you're on a sphere. It's just begging the question, mate.
Okay. That's why I just came with the question of how it works on the flat Earth, and I didn't get an answer.
Though, does it? Or we're not using this as some claim. What we do is we present things like the black swan, bunking the assertion we have Earth curve. And if there is no Earth curve, the Earth's flat. So that's the kind of thing we present.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, hey, fair enough. If this question does not match the format of your show, then I'm sorry.
We didn't say that. We answered it.
Oh, you answered? What was the answer again?
You said it was. Go ahead, Nathan.
No worries. I'll summarize it. You're asking a question relies on you assuming your outcome that you aren't even using as a claim. You're making us justify how it works on a flat plane when we're not making any claim about this. It's number one, a burden of proof reversal fallacy. In the next step in your process, you're going to utilize a begging the question fallacy, make a claim that it proves a globe. It's two fallacies. Burden of proof reversal fallacy in the first instance. How does this work on your flat plane that you're not making a claim about in this regard with this example? That's your first fault. Second fault, you're using a begging the question fallacy, which is to say you're assuming your outcome of a spherical Earth, saying, well, based on my P statement, if the Earth is a sphere, I will have these satellites pointing up in the northern hemisphere, out at the center, and down in the southern hemisphere. Therefore, because they do exactly that, that can only work on a sphere. It's an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. There you go. That's the issue.
I never claimed that. What I said was that the angles of the orientation where they're pointing, they would match the heliocentric model. But if you were to plot them on, let's say,
sphere, yeah, that's what I just said.
Okay, that's not what I was going to say. I'm saying if you try to plot those angles on a flat surface, they wouldn't point all at the same place. Well, and that's the thing that
Well, hold on. You said on a heliocentric model. Are you in live stream? Can you show us what that heliocentric model is? We've never seen it.
No, I'm pretty sure you've seen it.
I have never seen a model of the heliocentric religion.
Well, it depends on what your definition of model is, because
definition, we want to see it.
Whatever you're saying the model is, like you got that. That'd be cool.
A ball.
Yeah. You
show
got
us.
that.
Show us.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to show you that.
But why? But why? This is the thing, though, right? We're told all the time, you flat earthers, you guys don't have a model.
Hey,
But
do you
now
guys-
we're sitting here asking you, where's your model? Because you said you got one, and it's funny.
It's funny because if I were to ask, do you have something to represent where we live? To you guys, would you guys show me anything?
Yeah, we live on Earth.
Yeah, hold
We
on.
don't care about models. Models are reification fallacies. We don't care about that. But you guys are the ones that assert that you don't know what we're talking about because you don't have a model. So where's your model?
I didn't say that.
I'm not saying you personally, right? But your side, the guys who believe that we're all retarded because we think we live on a flat stationary
You know what?
plane.
I don't think you get retarded. I never claimed that either. I'm sorry if other people think that you're retarded, but
Yeah,
like I
well,
said-
okay. So
like I said, you guys asking me what? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
no. I'm just saying, like, it's funny, right? That we ask very simply, do you guys have the model? And we don't ever get it.
No.
When we're told all the time, you guys don't have a model.
No.
Right?
Okay. You claim that you never get it when you got your request to see the model, even though you know what the heliocentric model is, and that's what I was referring to.
I don't know it.
I don't know.
One second.
Let me just try once more, Carlos. Right. In your statements, you said the heliocentric model. It was very clear what you were referring to, and there is a heliocentric model, which, let's face it, 95% of the Western world are under the impression they're standing on. It's an established, understood model. Now, we don't assert a model here, typically here. Now, yeah, there are other flat earthers, if you want a stereotype, that do. We don't. You definitely did. And we're saying, given that you have definitely detailed and even verbalized the heliocentric model in air quotes, and we just see it, you're saying, well, you know what it is. No, that's not what we want, though. We're detailing the fact that we never actually get to see it. No one actually shows us the model.
So you never seen the representation of the heliocentric model where we live?
Nope.
You never seen? Have you ever zoomed out on Google Earth?
Oh, Google Earth is your model. Okay.
No, it's not. I'm getting somewhere.
No, it's not.
That was quick.
Yeah. So you guys asked me to see the model. That's really funny. So you can make fun of it. Ha ha ha. But
no. I can tell you've been around a while, because straight away, as soon as you said Google Earth, slipped it out accidentally, we pounced on it and you went, no, not Google Earth, because presumably you've been around a while, and I could tell that just because your attraction was so quick. But why have you gone not Google Earth, if you don't mind me asking?
Because QE said, "Oh, Google Earth is your model." I said, "No, Google Earth is not my model. That's a representation of the heliocentric model."
Wait a second. How can it be a representation of the heliocentric model and then not be the model of heliocentrism, sir?
Because it's not complete. That's all it is.
It's a contradiction. You just contradicted yourself.
Sure. Okay.
So that's the one we're looking for, the complete one.
The complete one.
You got that one?
By complete, do you mean where you can observe every surface of the Earth in one photograph?
You're not fussy. We'll see what you've got. Let's have a look.
Anyway. I see where this is going.
That's great.
Oh man. Anyway, so do you guys can you guys show something that represents where we live?
We don't claim to, though, but there's this thing called the heliocentric model that's very well understood as a model, but it seems like there isn't one. It's really weird how people
No. So you said it's very well understood, yet you're asking to see it. And when I show you whatever I'm going to show you, then you're going to ridicule and say, "Oh, that's your model," and then you're going to have something you're going to.
Well, now don't anticipate. Hold on, don't anticipate what we're going to do. You can't forecast that. We just want to see.
Being around.
Well, no, you can't do that because ejection, Your Honor. Pure
Moderator.
speculation, right? You can't. That's inadmissible, right? Show us our model, show us your model. Because you said the heliocentric model. Wait, listen, that's not.
You show me yours first.
What's that?
I said, you show me yours first, and I show you
A
mine.
little quid pro
See,
quo.
but here's the thing, though, Carlos. You never, ever hear us say the flat Earth model here. At least not here.
Sure.
What's it
I-
called?
I think you say the flat Earth.
What's it
Yeah,
called?
because the Earth is flat. We don't live on a model, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go down the rabbit hole of model. We don't live on the model. That's all
We
that
are.
means.
No. Hold on, Carlos. Right.
Yeah.
We haven't given you a name of a model for you to say, well, show us the xenomorph model of the flat Earth, because we haven't named one. You've definitely named, heliocentric model.
Mhm.
There's one that's been described, and we're saying, can we see that one? And you're saying, oh, you'll ridicule it. Well, to be perfectly frank with you, there's no past experience to go by in terms of whether we would or wouldn't. No one's ever shown us one.
Have you ever seen a globe in a library, Nathan?
I turned it over.
Is
and said,
that the model?
Hold on, guys.
Hold on.
Hey, Chocolate, Arwen, relax.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let Nathan go.
I turned it over and it said, not for educational purposes. This is a toy.
Well, that's very sad. So it must have been for decoration, not for educational purposes. Ergo, the sticker.
It's amazing. It says it on the bottom of all of them.
Oh, okay. So all of them say that, Nathan Oakley. You look at every single globe, and every single one has that sticker.
Yeah. Only that, there's like documentation of it. So DITRH will go around, turning them over and filming it. It's really amusing.
I've done it myself too. I've gone to Walmart. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, check it out. Walmart.
Are you saying that are you saying that the globe in the library is that the heliocentric model?
No, well, depending if you had the sticker that said not for educational purposes, it probably wasn't very
So
accurate.
what if it didn't have the sticker on it?
Then it probably
And
was
you-
a pretty close.
That would be the model.
That would
The
be
globe in the library.
That would be a very close representation of the model. That we live in.
Oh, guys, how about just asking for a virtual simulation?
Oh, and hold on. One more thing. You understand what heliocentric means, right?
Yeah, the sun is in the middle.
Sun? Where's that in this model in the library?
Exactly. See what we're saying?
That's what I'm
Carlos?
saying. It's a close representation of where we live, which is part of the heliocentric model. If you as a whole, let's say okay. When I say heliocentric model, yeah, obviously when you see just the Earth, the globe, you're not gonna expect to see the sun somewhere else. You can go to a planetarium or something where they won't even have it close to the actual scale, because it will have to be really far from Earth to match. But anyway, yeah. Do you?
Planetarium. Hold on. Planetarium. Let's just address that. So I've been to a planetarium. Standing on a flat surface, though.
What?
Flat in the planetarium.
Huh? What about it?
Isn't the heliocentric model based on an observation of stars in that aspect from a curved ball Earth surface?
What shape is the roof that the stars are usually on?
I don't know, but like I said, originally I came here asking the question of the mechanics of the satellite communication, that we moved to the planetarium, and now the dome's shape of the planetarium.
Yeah, because you circled us back to it after we demolished that little.
Demolish what?
We demolished.
Model.
You want me to rewind the presentation to go back and listen to our answers to your non-claim?
Excuse me. If it's okay with the moderator, I'd rather not.
Moderator.
Moderator.
I like this guy a lot. You're good. You're a good sport, Carlos.
Well, so are you, guys. That's right now. So far. But
So
anyway,
far.
yeah. So far. No, but sincerely, I've yet to hear anybody, kind of break down how that would work on a flat plane.
Right. Well, visit my show for that.
But isn't that the point? If it's a flat plane, right? It's working. However, it's working on a flat plane. So
Right.
if it's already flat, who cares where it's pointing?
Fair enough.
Right.
But my question is, how is it working? I know you don't care how it works because it works.
Well, there's one aspect of any realm design that concerns flat Earth that will work very well, and that is the gas pressure modeling of it.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
don't care
what
about
my
gas.
question. So there's many visual representations of heliocentric systems and all that, and scale, not to scale, whatever. But I've never seen an actual gas pressure simulation that lasted more than a second of any of it. How about that, Bart?
Yeah, moderator, he's going off topic.
Moderator.
I asked you where the satellites were, and you were like brushing past this quickly.
No, I don't care about gas. I'm just still asking the question of how that works. And Chocolate said, "Well, it doesn't matter how it works; it works." I was like, "Well, that's actually, you know, that's why."
Yeah, because your first assertion was that it works on a flat plane.
Right. So okay. So I'm
Okay.
assuming that it's a flat Earth. You said it works. I say, okay, great.
What assuming? What do you mean assuming? Do you have evidence to contradict that?
I don't.
To making an assumption?
I'm saying that assuming with you, what you're telling me that way, it's in a flat Earth and it works. Ergo, it works. I'm like, okay, great. How does it work?
It's your claim that you came in here with.
No, I came here with a question, Chocolate, asking how does it work on a flat plane or the flat Earth. I didn't make any claims when I came in here.
Okay.
So once again, it's just questions that I'm asking. And, you know, as you said, it works on a flat Earth. That's all I care about. You don't care about the mechanics. And, well, shoot, I'm not going to give my answer.
Well, I'm sure I could find out if that was a particular subject I was interested in finding out. But you just came in. It's literally the equivalent. Remember the gas station? You just walk up to somebody, ask them to explain something they never made a claim about. That's what you did.
That was pretty embarrassing. They told me to
yeah. So I mean, that's where we are. I'm not trying to come at you in any way. It's just, you know.
Like you said, you guys don't really have any interest in that, and so then that's, you know, then I didn't get my answer. That's all I'm looking for. Somebody who's interested in looking into it and breaking down how it works and compare it to the mainstream understanding of how that works.
Oh, mainstream. What's
mainstream.
Oh, is that the heliocentric model stream?
Yes, the one at the library that's missing the sun. Yes.
How do they explain it?
I can break that down.
Go ahead.
I did.
No. I'm still looking to explanation how it works on a flat Earth.
Yeah,
that's all I'm looking for.
Okay, we covered that too. Said that why? What does it prove or disprove? And if it doesn't prove or disprove anything, it's just an interesting folly. You might be intrigued to find out how sycamore pollination works, right? And if I assert that you need to justify how sycamore pollination works on a globe, are you now going to be held to task for the rest of the show by me on how sycamore pollination works? Oh, right. So, given that it's unreasonable for me to demand that you now focus all of your time and attention on figuring out premature sycamore pollination in the north of England on a globe, the same way I'm not going to spend any time whatsoever figuring out how satellites work when those satellites are claimed to be in a second law of thermodynamics violation. Also, when the claim is made that we are supposedly having the burden of proof reversal work on us, i.e. I'll indulge you, I'll say, well, okay, fine. If you're to assume that this works on a sphere by way of begging the question, you have to formulate it into a logical fallacy. I.e., if I assume the Earth's a sphere, then I'll see satellites pointing out at the equator on my presupposed sphere. They do point out at the equator, therefore I'm proving the Earth's a sphere. But I am interested in this example because it's used within affirming the consequent to claim proof of a sphere. It proves nothing. It is interesting.
Save for fallacy.
Correct. So it proves nothing. It just, you know, I wanted to compare to how it would work on a flat Earth to how we are told that they work, and it can be verified.
You can verify that if you beg the question of a sphere Earth, then look at something that's pointing up into the sky. You can claim that that's pointing outwards from the North Pole at a 90-degree angle outwards. If you assume it's on a sphere, beyond the assumption that you're on a sphere, it proves literally nothing.
Yeah, it just doesn't prove anything. It's just good evidence. But
good evidence for anything.
Whoa, no. Proof is evidence.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know. I'm my the whole definition of words in science is not my forte, so I won't even dare question you on that. But
Okay.
once again, I'm just wanting to see if anybody had an explanation of the mechanics of how it works on a flat plane. And anyway, so it'd be nice to see somebody demonstrate it, or show some math or some angles or trigonometry.
Why would we give you math? That's just describing an effect.
Yeah. Okay.
But so I don't know. Is there anything else besides the satellites that are in a the satellites that in the heliocentric model are in a second law of thermodynamics violation? You have any problems with that?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's like I said. I just want to see how it works in a flat Earth.
I know. We heard you 35 times. We already dealt with it.
Right.
I just want to know about that premature sycamore pollination on the globe, but I'm never going to get the answer.
Well, I tell you what, Nathan. I think that the flat Earth, as you guys describe it, if I were to ignore everything but just let's say the temperature and the barometric pressure and rain and the sun coming in, I think it would work on a flat Earth. No different than a globe Earth, I guess. But I don't care about sycamore trees. So, like you said, like Chocolate say, I don't care about that. Then he's not going to look into it. So, fair enough.
Fair enough. Is there any more you get? Thank you, Carlos. It's been very amusing. We've got Rams in, so I don't know if you wanted to add anything, Rams. If not, I think you're going to be the last guest.
Oh, I came in pretty late, but yeah, I really like this subject. I'm really glad QE's done this presentation on it, and I look forward to going back and listening to it thoroughly later on.
Hey, Adam, by the way, have you?
Evening, guys. Sorry I'm so late. And,
Yeah, me too.
It's the end of the show.
well, I've been busy. I've been doing. I've been pimping Chocolate's ride.
What?
Oh, Choc, when the show's done, mate, I'll play it for you. I've took your little rap, pimped it up a bit.
Yeah.
Ooh, you got a remix, Chocolate.
Nice. Cool.
All right,
It's
sir.
the New York Underground edition.
Did you have any, Adam, did you listen to any of the presentation?
I have absolutely nothing poignant to say whatsoever, John.
I just read on the YouTube that it's about information.
Yeah, thanks, Arwin. BALLBUSTERS.
Bet that was a good show. Oh.
It was epic. Arwin and Adam Meakin, ladies and gentlemen, very, very highly valued members of the BALLBUSTERS team.
And late.
And I played Chocolate's music video. You'll appreciate it was worth staying away for one show.
Indeed.
Hey, Neil said he didn't get a chance. Sorry, Nathan. Neil said he didn't get a chance to say anything. We took you off mute, Neil.
Hey, Neil, if you've got something to add, we're about to round out.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Neil, go.
That's not what I'm talking about. QE knows what I'm talking about.
What you talking about, brah? Why are you peeping?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Fair enough. We'll go down the list with the BALLBUSTERS. See if we have any last comments in regards to information. I'll do a plug for the show, which I'll start promoting as soon as this show ends. I'll also spam the link, but we'll start with you, Arwin. Information. If there's anything off the top of your head you want to add, feel free.
Yeah. Of course. You know I can always improvise anything. So information, it's very important. Without it, you have no idea what you're dealing with. So without information, there is no knower, there is no insight, there is no design. If there is no information, if there's no grip on the information, if there's no connection. So information is an integral part of the design of the entire realm and all the aspects of it. Information is a critical supernatural part of the realm's nature.
Epically beautiful word salad. Very well improvised. Thank you. Chocolate. Go ahead.
I don't have epically beautiful word salad to follow that, so I'll just say it was a good presentation, QE. Pretty simple information. I mean, it's just there. It's information, man. Yep, that's it. I'm good.
Nice salad dressing.
Yep.
Arwin.
Just a sprinkle on top of yours.
It was a cherry, Arwin. It was beautiful. Anything to add?
Some crispy onion bits I could throw on.
Head?
I mean, information is a prerequisite is to have a creator of the information. So if you can demonstrate that there is information in the natural world, then that logical step isn't a bigger leap.
Found.
Yeah, it was deep.
Very deep.
Not too committal.
It was quite quaffable.
I was thinking that exact thing.
Perfect. Okay, right. With that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a massive thank you to everyone who's joined us in the live audience. It's been a really good Ballbusters. Maybe not so much for the actual Ballbusters who didn't attend till the very end of the show, but in spite of that, as we've said before they got here and ruined everything, go back and watch the information again. If it didn't make sense, it's not entry-level stuff at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, it isn't also massively complicated either. So if you have your foot away going, I don't understand, just rewatch it. It will sink in. Massive thank you to all of the Ballbusters. I'm going to spam, or I have been spamming, a link to a brand new Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show, which will go out on the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel as soon as this finishes. So once again, massive thank you to the Ballbusters and all of the people who gave us some live feedback in the Discord server. Betty's not here to do all of this, hence I'm doing it today. And yeah, massive thanks to Quantum Eraser for the presentation. Epic, as always, nice and concise. Good questions and answered. Even a bit of Flat Earth right at the end, thanks to Carlos, who was very good sport. So yeah, be here or be sphere on the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel for brand new Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. Another thank you to Quantum Eraser. This has been Ballbusters. Any last remarks from you, Quantum Eraser, as the host of the show?
Anything from you? Did everyone hype their channels?
Subscribe to Nathan Oakley 1980 and Nathan Oakley respectively. Owen, plug.
Arwin channel, ARWIGN. I do the Flat Earth Early Bird show in the morning for the United States, 2 p.m. Amsterdam time. Figure it out. Be there.
Arwin, ARWIJN. Here or be sphere. Adam, did you want to plug anything?
I'll plug that. I'll go through the. Well, I'm already on Ballbusters, but obviously the old Iron Realm. Been around. John on a Tuesday whenever he reminds me, and really enjoyed being on the Really Woke show. He's now going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30. That's with Roxanne and Rich, Mama Sita, and a few others. Yeah, thanks for that.
I'll do a couple of plugs as well. So this is Flat Earth Debate Science versus Pseudoscience Discord server. So in future episodes, if you did want to join, there's a link below either my re-up of this show or Quantum Eraser's live show as it's running as it is now. So check out that. Also, Chocolate, can you do a plug on behalf of Jose? Good Jose.
Yeah, I was about to say what? Yeah, 24/7 Flat Earth Discord 2.0. It's coming, it's great if you want to come in, debate. If you're new to the subject and trying to learn, awesome place to do that. And then there's also the arena where we have it's on Miggy's channel. He's one of the moderators there. And he's got the arena open so you can come in, and if you're a flat earther, you could be a Spartan, or if you're Glober, you could be a gladiator. Pretty cool. So check it out. It's on the 24/7 Flat Earth Discord 2.0 channel. Discord.
Thank you, Chocolate. I'm going to do a random shout out as well, even though it's not a Ballbuster. Flat Earth 24/7 hosts Ballbusters quite frequently, hence Chocolate shouting it out. But this isn't. But it's Spurs Chemo has been kicking ass lately. So I want you to check it out. His channel's really small, and it doesn't deserve to be given how good he's doing at the moment, or how well he's doing, I should say. So his channel's called Under No Pressure, and it's Spurs Chemo's channel, and he gets right in there like 50 ballers against baller. Against Spurs, and yeah, he does really, really well. Very patient and tolerant that he is. Obviously, he's been on Flat Earth Debate quite a few times. Comes on this show time every now and again, maybe. Anyway, check him out. Under No Pressure is the name of Spurs Chemo's channel, and he has like 50 versus 1 are the names of his shows, and it's mass debates against one flat earther, which is Spurs. And yeah, he's handed people their ass with the scientific method. He also goes around the circuit on random other people's channels, including the Globus channels. Recently went on Flat Earth, Fight the Flat Earth channel, and handed a PhD his ass. It was absolutely epic. I can't sing the praises of Spurs Chemo enough at the moment. So I'll do one last plug for Spurs Chemo on the Under No Pressure YouTube channel. So be here or be see it for Spurs Chemo's debates. Out, and I'll say once more a plug for me. So as soon as this finishes, starting in about like 60 seconds time, there'll be a Flat Earth Debate uncut and after show going out on the Nathan Oakley 1980 YouTube channel. And that's me, so subscribe to me today. A massive thank you to Quantum Eraser. Obviously, if you're watching this live, make sure you've hit that subscribe button. Make sure you've hit the Facebook and Twitter share buttons. It's very, very important that you do so, as that's the only exposure we seem to get these days. Don't necessarily get any promotion from the algorithm. So if you're not sharing, these channels aren't getting promoted. So make sure you share this show far and wide. Once again, if you haven't fully understood what was gone through, make sure you go through the show again and just listen to it again. It's not a massive amount of information to take in. So thank you again to Quantum Eraser for putting it together. It really was epic, as always. Hopefully you'll do a little roundup before you run your outro, and hopefully everyone will go over to Nathan Oakley channel.
Yes, they will. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks to all the Ballbusters that came. We miss you, Betty. But it's summertime and it's family time. Understood. This is one of my favorite presentations. It's the most informative, no pun intended, and I would suggest to go back and listen to it again and again and share it with everyone you know. Just a reminder, Tuesday's live show, we're going to be taking Jesse Kozlowski to the woodshed. So that's coming up on Tuesday. Again, appreciate the audience. It was a good show. All the guests. Hang in there, guys. We'll see you Tuesday.